welcome back to EMEA, and of course, into me and Trelly Gore. I should say the name. I do that a lot, I've learned over the years.
It's me and Trelly.
It's me and Trelly. Or
you already know who I am.
Yeah.
But like that, but you, not me. Right.
You can read. I trust in your abilities and capabilities, and also you should follow us on Twitter.
True.
Because, you know, why not?
We're silly little guys sometimes.
Silly little guys. You know what else you should do? That's probably a lot more worth your while. ! Access in chat, because it's going to give you a link. You follow that link, guess what you're going to be able to do? You can enter the code Smite2Esports. Those are caps. And you can grab a key.
What kind of key?
A key to your future. In the Smite 2 Alpha, where you can start grinding, playing free rotation gods, see the new vibes, the feels, upgraded lighting, the changes in the kits. I'm a big fan of a lot of the changes we've made in the base kits. Playing some of the new gods that are exclusive to Smite 2. You can do that and more by going to the link, following ! Access, entering the code Smite2Esports, and grabbing yourself a key and redeeming it on your gaming platform.
You're telling me I can get it on Steam, Epic, Xbox, PSN North America, or PSN EU? I typed it.
Good.
Yeah, it's there.
In fact, Trelly just did the ! Access part for you. You just do the rest now, and you got a key. Like, he just took one of the steps away. That makes it so much easier. And then maybe you play, maybe you have a little bit of fun. Maybe you're thinking, man, you know what would be kind of cool? Owning all Smite 2 gods forever. Maybe then you go to smite2.com and purchase or upgrade a Founders Edition. Those are also ways to get into the game right now. But the access thing doesn't cost you any money, so it gets you in for free. And of course, speaking of for free entertainment, that's what we're about to watch right here. It is the top teams of EMEA and the last of the 2-0s. Team Risk and Smoke Break are going to be taking each other on in just a minute here. Going on offline, Titans Reloaded and Tithonic. So we will have all of the teams completed after this round, and then we'll be figuring out, who is going to the playoffs immediately, which so far, Giovanni Giorgio, they're there. And who, as we see at the bottom, actually, MMB and Let's Go Asgard again, are going immediately to the group stages, the qualifiers, last chance qualifiers, to try and make it to playoffs again, right? A second chance, a second life, the glory of being in Swiss. But yeah, moving around in the 1-2s, the 2-1s, etc., all that fun stuff with Swiss. I have never been more thankful for a graphic in my life, by the way, than this one, because it's made it so much easier to follow and keep track of. But Trelly, Team Risk and Smoke Break.
Yep.
Some would say the top 2, maybe, but definitely top 1 in Team Risk as far as domination has gone. Smoke Break kind of following right behind, which means we're in for a treat.
But Team Risk has not dropped a game in Swiss, and Smoke Break had to go to 3 against Tithonic.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that they're at a disadvantage because of that, but, like, you know, Team Risk, they've just been on point. Like, they have been locked in.
Ain't been losing.
And I think that's important, because I've seen a ton of top-seeded teams kind of play a bit sloppy at times, and Team Risk really has not been that team. So you got to bring your A game if you kind of try and take a shot at these guys.
Well, that's going to be their goal. We'll have to see, again, as we jump into picks and bans, what they end up grabbing, what they let through, and is it worthwhile? Team Risk will be first pick. Now, bans have been Fenrir, Baron, insert whatever god you want, typically Odin, usually at the top, but sometimes we've seen some others. Or this is the alternate version where we enter a branch universe, Odin and Baron, and then you get Fenrir first. But is it worth it? And I guess they answer my question for me. I was going to say, is it worth letting Baron through to ban Fenrir?
Nope.
He good.
Wow, Bacchus. I thought it was going to be Yamoja for sure. I mean, Bacchus is still great, don't get me wrong, but, like, that's genetics, man. And his Yamoja is terrifying, but turns out
Athena
also terrifying. So just lock that one in the first pick selection. Usually it's been Jingwei pretty much immediately, but the Athena is the call here for Smoke Break. Do they value the Jingwei, or do they value something else? Anubis has been a pick that has been in a lot of conversation recently, whether that be in mid lane, whether that be in solo lane, yet to be determined, but still, buffs to lifesteal, buffs to Anubis, he looks clean. hard to kill at times, but also depends on if you get off to a good start or not. So we'll have to see if Team Risk is even caring about that Yemoja pick. But one thing is for sure, they've got the Bacchus, and that has been Variety's favorite solo.
And you know what? I think for good reason. The fact I'm flabbergasted because I never thought I'd get to see a first pick Bacchus and then a third, I guess fourth pick Fenrir, like where you get both on the same team. Normally it's I'm gonna get this one thing and I'm gonna give up these other good things.
Oh brother.
I don't know that they gave up any other good things. I think they're very happy if you're Team Risk right now with this draft. I was gonna ask though if you liked the idea, because I think we've seen Anubis on the rise and we've seen him do pretty well. Is he, hey, let's pick him over Fenrir and Yemoja and Jingwei on the rise, or is that maybe a little kind of high priority from Smoke Break and maybe higher than it needs to be?
I mean, if we're just going off of the top 3 that Team Risk has versus the top 3 that Smoke Break has, Team Risk's top 3 is disgusting, man. You get Fenrir, you get Bacchus, who are just like pressure demons, and then you have genetics on Yemoja. Jingwei is still available and just got locked in, which is a pick that I thought Smoke Break might try to prioritize.
If danger sets foot
I mean,
on
this
my
is
doorway,
a top tier
I'll
draft
destroy
from
it.
Team Risk. Like,
It's quite simple,
every
really.
god can be in the running for top of their role.
Yeah.
Now you look at Smoke Break, who, I mean, Athena's been performing pretty well. Anubis is still a question mark for me. Neith, I love. Neith is great. But you got to assume Benko's taking either the Ares or the Athena into solo. And then Johnny Jungle's Bologna, question mark? That seems to be the call, because if not, then Johnny's taking either the Athena. Okay, you know what? Benko could take the Bologna, and then you let Johnny jungle Athena. That's also a possibility. Regardless, this is a draft that needs to get ahead and stay ahead. Whereas Team Risk, they can kind of play their own game. I do like the idea of changing up the meta before your match against the #1 seed, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, just try and change it up, make them try to adapt to a different play style. See if it works out for them, though. If I had to choose an allocation here, we did see a bit of Bologna jungle last weekend, maybe the weekend before. But I honestly think the Athena jungle may be the way to go here. Could be interesting. Regardless, we know Benko and Johnny both like to, you know, dip into the flavor picks every once in a while.
And I can't fully remember if it was open bracket or if it was in Swiss, but I feel like I've seen Johnny go to the Bologna, or someone, it might not have been Johnny even, someone in EMEA playing the Bologna jungle, and I remember just thinking, this is really good. There are 3 other gods that I can think of off the top of my head in Smite 2 that maybe would be doing it better nonetheless. So I'm really interested in that decision and who's going to go for it, because like you said, Athena in the jungle, like your gank potential compared to like a Fenrir or a Loki or even a Thanatos, like maybe isn't as high, but your ability to get around the map is much higher because you've got an ult that takes you over there. So it is going to be interesting to watch as a whole for Smoke Break. I also have mentioned that I like Anubis jungle, but I will be the first to say that I don't think it's great. I just think I like it. They're very different things. And so I'm very interested in their draft as a whole. And mainly it's just because I need to talk it up. Because like you said, the other one is a tier list. Like they just said, hey, best in slot, yep. Ran it from top to bottom, and that's kind of what we got.
Yeah, again, I do like the Neith. Besides that, like Hecate is just so strong right now. The CC immunity isn't there, but you're going to get it from your team. And then you just have so much to deal with, you know, immobile characters like Anubis and like an Ares who don't really have movement to get out of it. Plus, you have infinite setup with the Yemoja. You've diversified your beads and your Phantom Shell usage, right? Because you've got, you know, the walls. Yemoja is going to demand a Phantom Shell, but you also have Fenrir, who's going to have Ragnarok to be able to pick you up constantly. Bacchus as well is going to be a CC demon, and if all of that isn't enough, open the gates from Hecate is going to be able to pull you back in. So it seems like they've diversified their damage and their CC disgustingly well.
And we'll have to see how well it works out both for Team Risk and for Smoke Break here as we jump into game number 1. And Lazarus laying in wait in the jungle, hiding in the grass.
It is the Athena jungle. Nice.
This would be a good spot. Oh, yeah, Athena jungle. Wow. I'm really excited to watch this. Yesterday I saw it perform incredibly well in the right hands. Johnny is very good hands to perform. Yeah, so it could go really well. I feel like
there is actually, what's it called? There's a tech where you can go something along the lines of poly and hi-rez. and then all of Athena's reach autos, proc poly, and hydras, and it is very gross to try and pull off. But if you get ahead, you're kind of just one-shotting everyone, so keep my eye on it. Benko very far forward, not going to get too much pressure. Unfortunately, Lasbra is no longer around in the jungle, but no Sunder is being picked up. 5 Phantom Shells, but that means that no one, Gore, has beads for Lasbra. He's going to have an absolute field day until 2 beads will be picked up. I assume it'll be 2.
A hot minute since I've seen no Sunders. In fact, I might not have ever seen no Sunders on in a game. 8 Phantom Shells, 2 Aegises. A guy?
Egg Oxen.
Egg Oxen.
I always make that joke just because why do oxes have their own plural, you know? Or like what did they do to deserve it? I don't know.
Yeah, they were just, they were really cool guys.
Oxes is right there, and they chose
Oxen.
Yeah. So I just say Egg Oxen.
Egg Oxen.
Yep.
Benko, the artist formerly known as Deathwalker, and DJ Dink, the artist formerly known as Zero. So a lot of hidden name power on Smoke Break. Johnny, though, Brutalize, taken to about half. It does make me curious where First Blood is going to break through. It feels like there's potential through the seams on this one. Aggression over and left onto Sap, but not enough to really find the lockdown. It's all over the buff. That's really the primary goal here. And it is going to be a small reset for them. Variety is a menace on this pick, and it feels like that's something that this Balloon is going to have to worry about pretty often, because we've seen already today what a Bacchus, when he gets ahead, can do.
Already forced out of that Phantom Shell, though. That was immediately some pressure from Variety that was answered back in tow by the Bellona. So you got to watch out for that extra level of burst that Bellona can bring. Not the most popular solo laner, but definitely one that Benko has been going to for years. I mean, I think the first time I saw Deathwalker perform was either on an Osiris or a Bellona, but it was many a years ago. So he's got the tech down. He knows how to play lane at least a little bit safe. But you're up against a red buff Bacchus, which is very difficult to try and contest with pressure-wise, especially once he teleports back in with more itemization online.
It feels like you in a battle of I guess, attrition. Maybe the Bellona's going to be able to find some sparkling moments, but Variety might be the one who's more consistent. You do have 2 global ultimates on Smoke Break, though, and that really does change a lot of the tune. No 1v1 is ever a 1v1. Smoke Break always has the ability to change that number. And whether that's, I'll call it like a 1v1.5 with a Neath ult, or if it becomes a full-on 2v1 with an Athena rotation. It does really change a lot. Of course, none of that's going to be applicable till those ults are actually online. Still waiting to hit level 5. And Trelly, call it a hunch, but I think unless something just absolutely insane happens, I wouldn't be surprised if these 2 teams play just like a mean farm game, as opposed to maybe finding oh, we're up 12 kills to 2 at any given time. Although not for lack of trying. Streak is the main target right now. There's a Neath ult. But a little bit of healing from Genetics will help out a little bit overall. And it'll help keep Streak up, specifically in this matchup and in lane, a little better.
I am curious to see how Sap decides to build, because I've seen a few different ways for Anubis. Chronos Pendant has been that traditional starter item. It's just one of the best items in the game, even after the nerf. Still incredibly useful for just getting off multiple ultimates. But there is a Lasbra heading over to solo lane. Remember, no beats available, and there is a Ragnarok, but you gotta land that stun to find it. Just forced out the ult, and an Aegis coming out from Streak, thanks to the laser eyes coming from that death gaze. Sap, again, no Chronos Pendant online, but with Sands of Time with that tier 2 ring, you do have a good bit of cooldown rate, so the ult will be coming back really any minute now. And, Typhon's Fang got buffed, Bloodbound Book got buffed, so there's a lot of itemization that Anubis really appreciates. Off the back of a Chronos Pendant, like, squishies are always having to respect the wrap, because so much damage can come through if that Mummify lands. So I'm going to be watching duo lane for sure. Another thing, when these top-level teams play, we talked about this last set, Gore, Gold Fury has to be a topic of conversation. Both Jingwei and Anubis can bring a ton of DPS if you try and go for an early gold pull. The second someone backs up, they don't have their teleporter ready. They could just be snuck right underneath your nose. So I'm going to keep my eye on the objectives as well.
I'm keeping my eye. I was going to say on genetics, maybe on street. He's going to be able to disengage. I thought there was a world where maybe genetics got collapsed on because of the kind of awkward pathing that was being taken, but luckily they were tunnel visioned in on your carry and nobody really had to pay anything for it. Small amount of trouble for no price whatsoever. Now you get a small reset. Level 5's coming around. I mean, you had kind of mentioned this in picks and bans where Team Risk can play their own game, but like, this is not a comp I wouldn't be surprised to see with a Jingwei, the Hecate, even the Bacchus. Just kind of sit around for another like 7 minutes and then be like, oh, now we've got like 2 to 3 items. Yeah, we're good. Let's fight.
They have that ability, and look at this. Both hiding in the grass at the moment. Both Streak and Zap could have went in for a little bit of action, but not going to bring too much. Actually, a lot of damage coming the way of Zap all the way. Lasbra, can you find anything here? Is the shield from Johnny good? No kills coming through. A lot of low health bars. They cannot confirm anything. Remember, Ragnarok does find its home. So there's no beads available just yet, but not enough to find any sort of bloodshed. Beautiful stun there. Grabs the Phantom Shell. And River's Rebuke has effectively not been wasted, but used in turn for the shell.
And the glory of 5 Phantom Shells is you don't even feel like you're that worse off for it. Lasbra's been all over the place, though. I mean, in mid, over, and right now. So presence-wise, we're getting a lot. Of course, Athena, again, can match rotations pretty easily once that ult is available. Things like that. Neath ult. Aimed at the Fenrir, taunted back in. Bologna Hammer, going to be a little late. And the jump forward. What a great little dash, little leap from Lasbra. Eat a lot of ultimates. Have to use some relics. Burn your own shell.
Oh, my goodness.
But the moral of the story is his life stays with him. And meanwhile, yeah, kind of impressive how much damage Genetics was doing with a couple bubble bounces there in mid.
Just half health and DJ Dink like it's nothing. Zero's getting the meat end of the emoji train. Not what you want to see, but sometimes you got to see it. Beautiful totem confirmation there from Variety. I want to see more scrapping out of this lane, but for now it seems like Benko is going full lifesteal. Bro went from Death's Toll to Dev's Gauntlets, so has to watch out for the sustain, I suppose, as this lane continues. But Bacchus still has plenty of damage, so should not be too big of an issue. I talked earlier about the possibility of a Gold Fury just because there's damage on that side of the map, but you talked about it as well. No Sunder available, so confirmation is a big question mark. Probably just sitting back playing farm game for a bit longer is going to be the main concern. But those shells just keep going down. Again, Genetics really... Oh my goodness, Benko finally falls down, but the ult from Johnny comes through. He's doing a lot. I don't think you wanted to up down there last, but can you kill him before any more damage comes?
Force the shell? If they had a little more cooldowns, they maybe go in for that. I honestly thought they were about to get the kill. Good for Johnny to have the wherewithal to get out. Lucky? Question mark for Lasbra, maybe execution for Lasbra to make sure that he stays alive. And well played. I mean, Trelly, first blood, you get it onto the Fenrir. Everything's been pretty much equal up till now. That's a really good and strong pickup. You got to continue that all around. Doesn't look like Genetics is too worried right now. Don't get to walk back. But a solid start, both in terms of farm, but mostly in terms of fight overall for Team Risk.
And that's the other thing you have to watch out for, is the fact that there's some aggression happening in the duo lane. Not what I was going to say, but Genetics taking the ult. Double ult. The beats is going to be enough for Johnny. He jukes the taunt!
I can't believe it, and then stays moving. I mean, look, little moments like that, and Trelly, this happens, I want to say not too often, but it is small things like that that stack up that then break you, right? Like, that's not the end of the world for Smoke Break, but you can't let it happen consistently. Good wrap, the Mummify, now pick up Lasbra. Shell keeps him alive, but he's not able to get out of there. Johnny has a little bit of extra damage and can close the gap, so they get themselves a kill, and that's exactly what I needed to see. They needed to find something for all their efforts.
Yeah, Lasbra unfortunately trolled that one. There is no one with beads in the game. and was not able to hit the stun into the ultimate there, so ended up taking a taunt, taking way too much damage from the death gaze from Sap, and then of course the read from Johnny ends up cleaning it up. But man, I cannot believe Genetics juked that taunt. That should have been at least 2 kills on the table there for Smoke Break, but only gonna be the 1. And Genetics steals away purple buff and walks away. My goodness. Again, this Yemoja could have been taken away, but not something that Silence wanted to pick up. You are just giving this man too much freedom. But Lasbra does have to pick up some major weight here because, again, they went 5 shells to counter Genetics. Like, that is the pickup here. Beads is not available if you're not near Eye Silence right now, so Fenrir should have some freedom, at least for a bit longer. It's not coming around anytime soon, so keep your eyes on Lasbra. Start of the Jotun's Revenge does have some decent cooldown rate if you're able to chain together some kills. I want to see more key Ragnaroks on anyone that's not near this Ares.
Unfortunately, Ares is going to kind of be all over the place. So it might be hard to find something not near him. Lasbra is in the jungle now. Genetics and Theeks behind him. Bubble over the wall. Johnny was maybe the goal. But the real trophy is the speed buff and the friends he made along the way, which was the speed buff. And that is something that is very, I mean, that's like a mental game. I think that plays well specifically against junglers is stripping their speed away. That tilts people, and specifically, again, tilts junglers maybe more than anything else in the game could tilt them. Like, it is crazy.
No beads?
And then pulled right back in. Oh my god, yeah, I didn't expect the damage. DJ Dink, oh, had nothing to stay alive. You didn't have your helper who has the purification talisman.
Yeah, I, for some reason, thought that Johnny was silenced, and I was like, you saw your boy get pulled by the ult and you didn't beads him? No, Johnny doesn't have beads. That is a full damage Athena jungle. So yeah, the beautifully placed ultimate there from Theeks. Open the gates. Ripped you right back in. DJ Dink is no longer. Queen Naga has spawned in. Lasbra and Genetics going to work on that. So this could help. This could be the opening to that Gold Fury we've been talking about. Some extra helpers tanking up can go a long way. I believe Theeks picked it up. So the buff is available if you don't want to try and tank it up yourself. I do want to see the Gold Fury off of that play. Again, once Lasbra's ult comes back up, or sorry, Theeks' ult comes back up, rather, I think baiting in for a Gold Fury fight could be big. Especially because Sap 7, this is Anubis. You got your ult, yes, but you don't have any life steal. You don't have that survivability. It really is just the Chronos pendant. I think it'd be pretty easy to bait in. And now that Sap's backing, they can pull gold immediately here. I think they should go for it.
Well, they're in the neighborhood, but they're not aggressive towards it, right? It's this maybe slow roll. I'm kind of, honestly, I'm trying to pad time to anticipate whether or not they're going over there. It does look like with Lasbra in the neighborhood, you might be able to start it up and maybe getting a little more aggressive. Mid is under tower. Invade onto the purple buff. A little damage. You've got a Fenrir. Riptide's actually solid. Walls go up, and then a leap in. Yes, you have the shell. Is it going to be enough? Silence is so far so good. The Athena helps out. Pulls in onto Lasbra. And gets a little bit of aggression done, but it's Silence. Oh, poor Silence, who gets yoinked right back in and opens up this fight. Now, you've got everyone over here outside of your Bacchus. Maybe a good time to try and go for a Gold Fury, but again, Charlie, they're playing it safe. They get the kill, they fall back. Not that it's going to show without any effort. 2,000 gold, 13, about 14 minutes in, and still plenty of time, 10 seconds before Silence even comes back, so you can start up a Fury soon and maybe make your play.
I would have liked to see it, but not going to be the call here.
I feel like now are trying to will it into existence so you don't look foolish.
At the very least, just a fight around gold would be nice, but not going to be the play. Lasbra.
They did use a lot of ults.
Is thinking about the speed buff invade, recognizes there's too much here and decides to back up. Probably a smart call. This Fenrir does decent damage, but really have to eat all of that. And also, Genetics opted to go for the Glad Shield second item, which is interesting. Just wants to do more damage on this Yemoja. Sure, it's going to make you tankier, but it's also going to make sure that you're getting the most out of your TPS, right? He drops the Intoxicate just to get that gold. Ends up being pretty worth it, honestly. You really underestimate how much that 100-something gold going your way consistently can add up to. So I like the call from Variety, as long as you don't need your ult in the next couple of minutes or so. But still, The lead for Team Risk is building, and they have not seen an opportunity to go in for any sort of objective, which still surprises me, man. Like, they know how to play up a lead. They have presence in just about every lane. Not enough to step up for anything.
Well, right now, Genetics in a little bit of trouble. The wall's helping him, but not the direction I thought they were going to. And then the Riptide gets him out of there. Not the sequence of events I think even Genetics expected, but one that works out. Stunned under tower right now is Variety. It has some help in the jungle. Maybe you go for somebody else. Maybe you go for Johnny. Both of the leaps, though, not connecting. Distance seems to be a little too great. I don't think Team Risk can make this one work, but Smokebreak investing kind of heavily into a tower, of all things. I mean, willing to dive it, jumping down, using ults as well. Charlie, I admittedly didn't expect to see that much action happening based on where Variety was standing.
Yeah, this Bacchus is super tanky, but doesn't have any sort of CC immunity. So if iSilence found the ult, could have, attempted a dive, but I think Benko probably called it off. One just did not have the damage to try and match that for the time being. Lazara's over in duo lane, but Jingwei has flown over to the Pyromancer, so Streak's gonna assist, and it looks like the first true, real objective will be done by Team Risk, and the Runic Bomb goes the way of Genetics, so not a bad look there. You have a Runic Bomb now. Will that be enough to make Team Risk feel confident going in for their Fury? I mean, they had a lead, they had good vision, they had a back, and that wasn't enough, so maybe just keep playing defensively is their call. I mean, they're slowly but surely just building this gold lead up even more. And I assume they feel great about their late game, considering they've got a Jingwei and a Hecate, so I don't hate the idea of just playing back, but I think they have the presence to be able to go for Gold Fury pretty easily here.
And it's something I didn't think of very heavily for them, but realistically, I mean, it's a big deal not having a Sunder and not having someone with like a massive team damage ultimate or burst ultimate like a Cuckoo who we've seen in a couple games in EMEA and NA. Just because it really does mean that most of these objectives, like, they're just 50-50. How confident do you feel, and can you get the control you want? That's all kind of up in the air as of right now. And admittedly, you have a lot of control. You're 4,000 gold up on Smokebreak, and so you should feel pretty confident. But it is something to keep in mind that even with this amount of lead, all it would take is DJ Tink walking up, putting a weave onto the Fury and detonating it to find something maybe a little bit bigger.
Lazara tried to go in for the ultimate there, did find it. DJ Dink was able to close gap, but had to Phantom Shell and use his own active beats to make sure he didn't get stunned underneath the tower. So that's a big waste, unfortunately, there for Lazara. And when you lose everything like that, you're probably not trying to go in for a Gold Fury anytime soon. But man, Variety and Benko have not really left lane either. They're level 18 and 17 respectively, and just chilling. Like, it seems like both team had a agreement, like, you like your late game? Yeah, we like our late game. Okay, we like our late game too, so we're just gonna chill. And everyone has abided by that, and everyone has respected that. Man, I did not expect this build from Johnny either, though. Like, Genji's makes sense, the Chronos Penta makes sense, but the breastplate, this Athena not gonna be doing a lot of damage.
Maybe just trying to be a taunt machine, I guess. Trelly, I'm going to be completely honest with you.
Please do.
My brain registered the Anubis early on. Did not register that he was up against the Jingwei in lane until literally just now, 19 minutes into this game. I was wondering where he was, and it turns out it was over there the whole time. I just wasn't paying enough attention to him. So I'm interested to watch, the damage, because like if you taunt into like Anubis ult, that's gonna burn through somebody's pretty well. Same thing if Anith sets up, but it does feel like they're going to have
got him.
Good ult comes down from Benko. They're chasing under the tower, and they have enough damage and enough tankiness to get away with that. And I don't know if the chase is good enough from Team Risk, especially with the damage they have over here, to really get anything out of this other than some poke. Maybe a distraction overall, but a distraction for what? I couldn't tell you.
I mean, Lazara's farming right lane, so that's something, I suppose, right? You're letting the Fenrir just go ahead and split, try and catch back up while Variety covers the option over and left. Could be the idea. Unfortunately for Streak, doesn't have beads, so was always going to die there if the stun connected, which it certainly did. from Benko. It's a great rotation from the solo laner. Bit of scrapping though. I see some damage flying out. Can we see open the gates and find anything? That's going to be a River's Rebuke that actually connects. Score 5 Phantom Shells and 1 was not available to get Sap 7 out, and the chase continues. Riptide is definitely going to help you run down Silence here, and guess who's on the way? It's Variety.
Yeah, good belly flop does not connect for the knockup, but it doesn't matter. You've got the tankiness and the ability to chase forward. Silence uses a shell, as well as the ult for some CC immunity, but it is a slow burn, but a burn nonetheless. Silence is the one who goes down. Lasbra in the jungle did a little bit of zoning, just making sure no one could really step up to him, but the duo lane for Smoke Break taken down. And now the tier 1 tower on left getting pushed forward. And a small reset for everybody else. Looking at items, feeling pretty good. And this is so typical of a genetics team. A lot of the players on Team Risk are playing incredibly well. And, you know, have to listen to comms, learn maybe more about their leadership. Hold that thought, Streak. Eats an ult. Seems to be fine under the tower. Now has a little bit of backup. But Shelly, 1 Gold Fury, the Pyromancer earlier. Otherwise, just farm. 3 kills separate them. And that has culminated into 6,000 gold Team Risk has in the lead.
Trying to kill Benko is the call here, but there is 3 on the side of Smoke Break. This Ragnarok is just stalling for the rest of the squad, and here comes Theeks, who's doing a ton of damage. Where will the ultimate go? Where are the gates being opened? So far, hasn't been dropped yet.
Well, finds the ult, doesn't find a hit, but forces an awkward path, finds a kill. Now it's Silence. Poor guy. He had no options and nowhere else to go. And maybe it wasn't the 2 they originally were aiming for, but 2 kills nonetheless sends them up even further. And now, well, got all these people on the right side of the map, and there's a pretty tasty objective sitting over here. Fire Giant started up by Team Risk, and the zone is looking good. Again, you've got 2 gone for 23 plus seconds. And 1 for Sap might honestly get soloed here. Variety didn't have to fight under the tower. Fire Giant to all 5 of Team Risk. And they're just going to continue to push this lead. Shelly, they've got 5 towers to knock down, a Pyromancer to go to, a Gold Fury that's going to be spawning soon. They've got a lot of work they can do.
They certainly do, and they've been putting themselves in the best position to just get to this point, right? Late game was always the target. They never overstayed. They never overextended. And now you've got, I mean, 3 carries, realistically, that are level 20. I'm adding Variety into that conversation because as a tank, sure, but he does tons of damage as well. Gold Fury, second of the game, could be the target, but try and get as much action off the map for free as you can. You know Benko's in left. You know that Johnny is missing at the moment, but he was also in left. You couldn't possibly have known that, but you have a decent bit of an idea. I don't love this call from Lasbra because it seems like the only play that Smoke Break has is to try and group up on someone who's overstaying. And Fenrir is definitely overstaying. But at the end of the day, as long as there's no follow-up, even with a World Weaver coming through from DJ Dink, Lasbra's not going to be falling down. He's tanky enough with that Purification and Screeching Gargoyle pickup. A lot of active items from Lasbra. You can play this one slow. Go ahead and grab that second Gold Fury of the game. And look for tier 2 over on left as well. It's probably the call here from Team Risk.
Again, power. I think just power. The damage output from, you had mentioned Lasbra, but I was looking down to that Hecate. I mean, Theeks has just been insane in terms of DPS. And so you set yourselves up to do a lot of damage. You are in a position where when you rotate, I mean, that last ult, it went wide, but it did such a good job of kind of rerouting anywhere. I think it was DJ Dink. Like, anywhere you could go that it's like, just good luck, man. You're not getting out of here. And so being able to find kills in spite of not necessarily connecting on some of your big damage is crazy. There's a teleport from Benko. Bologna now on the left side of the map.
He was running.
Yeah, group up now of all 5. Team Risk going to knock down this tier 2, no problem. Looking like they want to knock on the door of the Phoenix.
Walking up, Johnny's not here. Maybe he could ult in, but the Queen has the buff, which means the minions help induce a DPS towards the Phoenix. River's Rebuke just to confirm this one. No Runic Bomb drop. Genetic still holding on to it. Tells you they want 2 Phoenixes, but this is going down slowly.
taking its time, and you've got a low health bar. Genetics does make it out, has healing, pull back onto 2, coming in from Theeks, and now you just need the damage follow-up streak. Has enough for 1 and a little extra for someone else, but not quite the kill on the silence they wanted. Lazra jumps into the back. Again, DPS onto a few. Phoenix was the primary target, and Phoenix does go down. Now, they're just picking up consolation prizes left and right, and those consolation prizes might result in a lot more. The Titan putting in a little bit of effort, punishes Lazra for going in too deep, along with the wrap that came from Sap 7. And it creates an awkward position. You got 2 and the Phoenix, but you lost your jungler. That's enough for Team Risk to back away.
Yeah, that could have been an end call, man. Silence was on point. Those chains shut down Lazra 2 separate times there, where the Brutalize definitely would have been able to find another kill. And I think if you do find a kill, again, that Titan could have been the target. Team Risk stepping forward. They still have time, but Benko's going to be up in 10 seconds. I think the tier 2 is all they will be hunting for the time being, unless Genetics can find a good stun off of Johnny here. Just going to rip Tide away. Looks like the aggression is not what Team Risk is looking for. Just going to head slowly back on out of there. Theeks provides some DPS towards everyone who's trying to chase. But again, that Runic bump took a while to go down. I think if it went down in the first Phoenix, things would have went a bit differently. But regardless, you're okay with losing Lazra to grab the bird. Team Risk continues to put that gold at a 15,000 gold point, which is pretty massive considering how slow of a burn this game has been. Only 9-3, not a lot of bloodshed. But objective play, farm play, and just pushing of the minions has been heavily in favor of Team Risk.
It is actually insane. Like, I got kind of stun locked watching the gold numbers for a second, because it was just, the number didn't match what my brain said it should match, right? I feel like it should be closer, and maybe it's, again, the way Team Risk farms. And this is why so many teams have struggled against them in general. And it's why Smoke Break is struggling right now. It's just, you leave them alone for a second, they're going to find an objective. They're going to find XYZ. And unfortunately for Smoke Break, that XYZ factor is everything and more when it comes to gold. I mean, just through neutral of farm and things like that, you're looking at builds, or I'm looking down at the builds, and in mid more than anything, 2-0 and 6. You're all level 20 outside of the supports. You've got a tier 1, just a dinky little gem there for DJ Dink. Meanwhile, on the other side, a fully completed Obsidian Shard and also the Rod of Tahuti after that. I mean, it's just insane how well they're farming and where it's getting them. And now Johnny, picked up, dashed out, seems to be just okay.
Lazra wanted to get that ult off a little bit further, but the team did not quite have the DPS, so they had to back on up. Having the right side Phoenix down isn't the worst thing in the world for Smoke Break. You're allowed to stay close to the Fire Giant. And again, having that Ragnarok down is a big deal. There is only one set of squad beads available, so if Silence is not on point, Ragnarok could have been a big deal, but already used it and no pick had come through just yet. Probably wait for Lazra is my guess before you go in for the Fire Giant again. But you get some poke onto Johnny, onto Benko. The ult's in. It's actually Smoke Break who want to dive the back line.
They're trying to get in as fast as they can, and they've got some pressure here onto Streak, who just ults away and is now able to get the DPS. Look at the big crits that are hitting, and look at the health bars on Smoke Break. They're falling a lot faster than anybody on Team Risk. You had mentioned at least one of those talismans of purification. You got 3 on the other side. Lazra gets to jump in knowing he has that safety net. He got a little extra damage. Poor Johnny can't stand, and it is kill after kill. 1, 2, 3, and 4. DJ Dink, last man standing. Phoenix on right. It's going to respawn soon. You don't have the Fire Giant buff to maybe close things up, but you do have a full-on deicide, and you do have a minion wave in mid. Team Risk with a massive fight going to run down mid, and they're going to rush into the Titan room and into this game.
That was a ridiculous dive from Variety. Again, only gets one last hit, but I think he got a 4-man ultimate where it was just tracking Bluestone on just about everyone. So much CC and so much damage off of an engage from Smoke Break. I mean, that was Benko and Johnny diving the backline, but you got to look at their build score. They're just tanks, right? There wasn't a lot of DPS coming from those guys. Maybe there was a little bit of follow-up if you have more off the back line, but I think Genetics splits up the fight well with the River's Rebuke, and then of course Variety getting to the back line and saying, hey, even if you do want to help your tanks that are currently dying, by the way, I am going to make your life miserable trying to get through. Heck of a game number 1. Again, still a slow burn, but that farm was disgusting. You got to be able to slow down the map play of Team Risk, and no one's done that yet. Again, in Swiss has not dropped a single game, not set, game.
And that, I mean, the pressure. Like, the fact that by the time you're taking a team fight, it's like, hey, by the way, they're up 10,000 gold. Like, that just can't feel good. And it's not, again, there was a Pyromancer and Gold Fury. Those made sense. It's like, okay, there's like 3, maybe 4,000 if you do them appropriately in the right times. And it's like, you look up, oh no, they're 7,000 ahead. Like, where there's just 3,000 to 4,000 unaccounted for gold. They're just seemingly grabbing out of thin air, and that's why Team Risk has been at the top, and that's why, as Trelly said, they haven't dropped a single game, and they continue that trend right now. The streak, I should have said. Get it? Because like they have a player named Streak. Yeah, it works out pretty well. Oh, yeah. And they also got a hell of a draft in game number 1. So we'll see how things change up in game 2 right after this.
It's never been done before.
What's the plan?
When was the last time you were in Vegas?
You want to host an esports event in Vegas for Smite. Smite 2. Now you're talking.
The hi-rez Arena, Las Vegas.
Some said it couldn't be done.
Are you guys out of your mind? The J-Dragons winning Worlds can't be beat. Not shouldn't be beat, it cannot be beat.
This January, see Smite like you've never seen before.
You clowns are gonna need a team even crazier than you. Who'd you have in mind?
Coming this January, Hindu Man's 11.
You're either in or you're out.
I'm in.
That's right, January 17th through 19th in the HyperX Arena, Las Vegas. We're going to be in Vegas. That's what the whole Founder Series is for. That's what it's all leading up to. Of course, you should join us if you can. Tickets are on sale now. You can go and join in again January 17th through 19th. And let me tell you something. If you don't think that you maybe tickets aren't the way that you want to earn your spot, you could use !access in chat. Get this link in this message that shows up.
Correct.
Click on it.
Click on your preferred platform.
Use code Smite2 Esports to get a key for the Smite 2 Alpha. And then what could you do? You could play in our open bracket tournaments
Extremely
that are
well.
going, at this point, pretty well, because it's the later half. You need a lot of points. Do really well in EMEA and EMEA in the open bracket. Qualify for the last chance qualifier. From there, go to playoffs. From there, go to the knockout stage. From there, make it to Vegas. So there is a path still available. The window is closing on that, but it is still available. Or you could do the other thing and just, get the ticket and just show up that way.
And some say it couldn't be done.
Yeah, you're some.
Well,
I think it's funny that they said some say it couldn't be done, and then it was, and your character.
I was gonna say I'm an actor.
Yeah, an actor.
Yeah, that was. who knows who that guy was?
And
I was more so trying to get out of Trelly's way.
Yeah,
he just took the stage.
Had to let him come through. Yeah,
exactly. I got to call Dave and Hindu clowns, which is just great.
And paid for it too. That's awesome.
And wouldn't do that again.
That chat, this is gonna blow your mind. Wasn't even filmed on location. All filmed in the Marvel studio.
You're gonna say like Fiji or something.
10 feet from us, as it turns out.
You don't know.
It was a really fun day.
That's the movie magic, baby. You don't know where we were.
Yeah. Who knows? I might be lying to you. That's called lying, I guess. I don't know. That's what just happened. Team Risk. Yeah, they won. They got a lot of gold, and they did it just by farming really good throughout the entire game. Didn't drop a lot of kills in the meantime. Did a way more damage than I honestly thought. Variety at 25k, doing 9,000 more than Benko, just in lane, but through rotations. The fact that Johnny did more damage, but I think Lazarus was more like effective damage. It was all finding kills. But my eyes were on Theeks for a lot of that,
Yep.
Trelly, and it's partially the GPM 639. That is again another wild number that we've gotten to see, and also poor Eye Silence, who's at 391.
Yikes.
But the that 639, it really did at one point. There were, DJ Dink had a gem, like a tier 1 item, and Theeks had 2 tier 3s over him, and it's just like it was insane how much gold they had kind of falling out of their pockets.
Yeah, and also getting your damage tripled doesn't feel great. Like 9,000 for Neath, and Theeks putting up 30k.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. But again, I think this all starts when we see P's and B's. When I saw Yamoja go through alone, I had question marks. But Bacchus, Fenrir, Yamoja, Hakate, Jingwei, like these are all
I'm pretty sure in that order too.
top of the tier list. And yeah, that's just what I bring. And these are all just fantastic gods to have in each role. It just didn't seem like we really hedged our bets, right? Like,
Yeah.
Neath is great. I love Neath. Bologna, I think, isn't the best option to try and go up against Bacchus, but was fine. I just think there was better choices to go to, and maybe, hey, game number 1's a good place to test, but game number 2 is where you got to lock in.
Well, we'll find out. Game 2, will they lock in? And you have to start in picks and bans for it. So that's where we'll start, and that's where Smoke Break potentially will start. Last time around, Divination, it was Odin and the Baron. If you're Team Risk, you don't have any reason to really change anything. Smoke Break probably don't want to change anything if they can avoid it. Baron, yeah, it just makes sense to ban him away given how strong he has been in the right hands. But it was a Bacchus first pick that was answered by Athena Anubis. Something tells me the Athena Anubis might be a spot where you could probably change things up if you're Smoke Break, especially if they go for Bacchus again. And they do.
They certainly do. The answer back could be an immediate Fenrir Yemoja. That could be something we see.
That's pretty good. Those
Athena.
I was gonna say I do like Johnny on the Loki. The Athena, I hope, is not going back to the jungle. There's still, and if it is going back to the jungle, I hope it's surrounded by more damage. This is tough, man. Already, I'm feeling.
So Fenrir mode.
It smells a bit too OE in the air. But we'll see. Again, it's not as if these picks are bad. Again, Athena has ridiculous amounts of setup. The global presence is pristine. The Anubis does a ton of damage if left alone. It's just it wasn't able to really get off swinging last game. And we could see Fenrir Yemoja locked in for Team Risk here. Like, that is completely viable, completely doable. Jing Wei could be prioritized. And if I know genetics, he probably doesn't even want to play the Yemoja again. He's like, dude, honestly, I hope I don't have to play it again. Like,
he wanted him to take it.
Yeah, let me play Ymir. Let me play anything else at this point. So it's not as if it needs to be done, but Team Risk has that possibility. Like, Smoke Break, clearly to me, this tells me that they are confident in the draft that they came up with. It was just the execution on field that did not work out. So they're going to try and do as much of a run back as they can, maybe just, ironing up some things here and there. It's just, I don't see how like 1 to 2 mistakes could have created that game we just saw.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm falling apart as well, right? It does feel and seem kind of like this is like Team Risk's dream. Like, it seems very bizarre to me to go back to the same 2. And again, maybe those weren't the problem. Maybe you shifted things up towards the end of the last draft, and originally, like, Sap wasn't going to play the Anubis over in the duo lane. And Team Risk are going to change things. I'm just curious as to what they're going to swap out in favor of grabbing this Neath, because it's something that we've seen Theeks play a ton. Theeks has loved this god, both in Smite 1 and in Smite 2, so not too surprising to see them go back to it, although the Hecate did a ton of damage, and I was just singing its praises. Now you have a little bit of a global presence. Fenrir, Yemoja, all still available. Jing Wei,
If danger sets
Hecate,
foot on my doorway,
which means suddenly
I'll destroy it.
I'm talking about the wrong
It's quite
guy for the
simple,
Neath.
really.
Maybe it's not Theeks anymore. Maybe Theeks is doing the run back. But all those gods I just mentioned in the Fenrir and Yemoja still available. Instead, it's Bologna who gets locked in there for Smoke Break in response.
Yeah, I mean, again, considering the top 2, it does seem like Smoke Break is trying to run back the majority of their draft. They can't run back the Neath, unfortunately, but besides that, the rest could be the call. Ares would have to be selected here, which doesn't have a bad matchup in any of the gods on screen. None of them have in-kit CC immunity. But the one big difference maker, there we go. See, that's what I was talking about. I was like, Johnny's got a great Loki. Don't know why we'd be going back to Athena when it's available. And luckily, we will not be seeing that. So probably Athena over in that support role, and then we just give Johnny the Loki. And that already is a huge difference for me. Like, the Loki controls your late game so much more. You don't have like a tank in the jungle any longer. That's what Athena was. I like this a ton more for Smoke Break, because Johnny, again, just knows how to pilot this god, knows how to be annoying, knows how to stop you from farming, and that's kind of exactly what the doctor ordered here for Smoke Break. Last up for Team Risk, just trying to find Lasber's jungler. Fenrir's got a great time into Loki, so it definitely wouldn't be a bad call. But are you feeling more Thanatos-y? Do you want the Susano? Do you want Chalk? Or do you want secret option number 5, the Mordred? I've been kind of cooking this pick for a while now, just because I feel like in jungle you have to play a certain way to make it work. But if you have a bunch of dive on your team, like Variety has been doing, That's what you need, right? You need someone else who is going to the back line
Yeah.
and creating a ruckus so that you can slip in through a wall and hit a big pursue the weak. 'Cause if you don't, it's pretty easy to juke, you know? It's one of those abilities that it tells you, the whole map can hear it, and everyone's like, okay, we're just going to stand here, we're going to see where you're coming, and then we're just going to like move out of the way. So it's kind of all about who can dive with you, and in this case, I think Box can do just that.
It is surprising to me. I feel like tagging out the Jingwei for the Neath is something that like I wouldn't really blink that twice at, but to drop the Jingwei for Neath and to drop the Fenrir for Mordred, I'm kind of curious. Maybe Team Risk just straight up didn't want to run it back. They were just kind of like, nah, we already did that. Like, we want to try something new, and it is fresh, right? Like you said, they have the capabilities to make it look good, but the question is going to be on those picks and how they perform this time around. And specifically, I'm looking at Mordred because I think we saw it earlier, and it didn't quite get done what it wanted to get done in the jungle, but it was missing, as you had mentioned, a key factor that Bacchus is going to provide. We also get the Kukul Khan, who has been someone I've not been a big fan of over the last like few weeks, really. And so I'm really watching Smoke Break, and maybe watching Johnny, maybe watching Benko specifically. I feel like those two are the driving factor, maybe even life force, I could say, for the team to get things rolling.
And the Cuckoo, again, we're not going to have a traditional auto attacker here. It's probably going to be the Anubis ADC once again from SAP 7. So a lot of weight objective-wise on the mages, right? The Cuckoo and the Anubis. It's not as if you don't have good burst and good burn. They do. It's just you need some itemization to get online. And because they got so heavily out-farmed in game number 1, you got to wonder what stops are going to be put into place to make sure that doesn't happen in game number 2. Because I think that's very important to be able to keep your farm at least in an even standpoint when you have a composition like this, let alone trying to get ahead. But we'll have to see exactly how they try and play. It was a lot of pressure off of Yamoja. Genetics was kind of running that side of the map. You now have a Neath in your back pocket as opposed to a Jingwei, so still some great damage, great clear. And you're up against an immobile character like Anubis. It's usually pretty easy to lock in all that damage. Something else to note, will we see 5 Phantom Shells? It's definitely something that can be useful against the Yamoja, of course. We saw it a few times where there was only one Ripper's Rebuke that actually connected. But do you worry about the Ultram Hecate? Do you worry about the Ultram Neath? Or do you even worry about the CC Muli you might need from Pursue the Weak from this Mordred? We'll have to see.
Well, and you know what? We don't have to wait much longer for it. We can jump into game 2 right now. Team Risk up 1-0. If they can win this one, well, Charlie, they go straight to playoffs. They go straight to stage 4. They skip over stage 3. They get to duel. Every time a team groups up in the Invisigrass like that, I feel like it's the beginning of a nature documentary. I don't know why.
We tune in to see Team Risk gently frolicking through the grass. Will they walk up and find a SAP 7? Only time will tell.
Sap is walking the other way. I can't do the accent as well as you
Sap,
did.
there is someone behind you right now. I don't think Sap's quite aware of this one. And just like that, nature has taken its course.
Yes, Team Risk in their natural habitat.
SAP 7, dude, how does this keep happening? How do we keep not checking behind us? That's like the 3rd first blood we have witnessed before the game has started.
It feels so much like when you're watching a horror movie and they won't look like the murderers just out of the eye line of sight for them. Like it just genuinely feels like that. You might even be able to get more. I mean, they're stuck between tier 1 and tier 2. You don't have a whole lot. Maybe you kill Sap a second time for funsies?
Tempting to. Benko's going for... This is just so split. Lazara is invading. You see a little bit of a scrap here. Oh no, SAP 7 is in trouble. Yeah, SAP is definitely dying. Is this a double kill? This might be a double kill.
They just need a little bit of lockdown. They need something. Silence is going to be the one. Sap took a step back. Oh, and the stun doesn't connect. No genetics. You don't miss those. Well, he doesn't miss those, as it turns out. Sap steps forward again. Might be dangerous. Turn around, stun, maybe go for another kill. No, it doesn't matter. You already shut down the duo lane. You're feeling pretty good. You already invaded their jungler. You're feeling pretty good. And you get to back away. 101 for both Genetics and for Lazara, and Streak 002. And should hit level 2 relatively soon. And be in a really, really comfortable and commanding spot. We're already up 200 gold, 2-0 in kills.
I will say, there is a massive lead on the map currently, and I'm not talking about for Team Risk. Benko is level 3?
Yeah.
Variety just got to level 2, I believe. Yeah, took both buffs, proxied a wave, and then stole the gold camp. Variety's going to have to play catch-up here, at least for a little bit. But I want to see how Johnny tries to come back from this, because that is a rough start to have. Looks like Johnny's heading over towards dual lane under tower, so not going to really open up for any sort of gank. But again, Lasbro was essentially gifted first blood before the game even began. So in the jungle, you kind of got to watch out for that guy, right? When it's already someone who's got decent early fight, which Mordred certainly has, now you have to watch out for, he's going to hit level 5 before me, he's going to have a full item before me, all that sort of stuff. And if you started something like Phantom Shell, like Johnny did, could be seeing a 1v1, could be seeing Sap fall down once again. This duo lane, we already said it once, Gore, but it's in shambles.
Yeah, it feels... I like what Silence has done, because I think this is the way to play it. You don't. You just fall back, let the farm come to you. You cry a little on the inside. Maybe you ask your jungler nicely, like, please, Mr. Johnny, sir, could you come to my lane and help out? But otherwise, you sit where it's safe.
They're just proxying. This is so rude.
I'm familiar with the solo lane proxy. Duo lane proxy is a little more new to me. They are going to get collapsed on. There's the stun. Backflip is going to be good. No rotations yet, but Loki is on his way. Genetics is relatively low. You're going to have to be kind of careful. But you're also Yemoja, so that helps a ton in terms of pretty much everything. You can heal off of Streak when you have your 2-up. And as we saw, Riptide is more than enough to get you out of places. So, just fine. Johnny instead left kind of hunting through the jungle, trying to find any farm that he can.
Taking a little bit of jungle away, always going to be a good call, but Johnny is level 4, so...
Is he in danger if this...
I was going to say, collapse could be there, but I think Feeks would have had to rotate, which Kate not interested, so we will not see the kill onto Johnny, or at least even an attempt for one. But Eagles rally down. It's a big deal. Getting Benko's ultimate means the safety over in solo lane has been cut down a bit. I mean, if you're Smoke Break, you have to play through your leads, and currently you have one, and it's the solo lane. That is where your lead is. Can you do anything with it? Can you let this Bellona rotate? Can you try and fight on the Variety? Does not seem plausible just yet. That is a level 4 Anubis who just got stunned and is almost certainly going to fall down here. Wait, that's Johnny. Okay, I was going to say, maybe we have a little bit of a fight back. And now, Streak backflip into the wall, and Genetics is falling down. This is huge.
Yeah, River's Rebuke comes out. You've got Lasbro behind, but he misses the oh no. He goes a little wide, and now he's just surrounded by 3. Good wrap. Maybe trying to find the chase down. Slowed down thanks to the Anubis. And yeah, maybe Genetics and Streak going a little too far there. Streak is alone. Lasbro's backing. So no pursuit going to continue over on the left-hand side. That's a pretty good kill. I mean, 2-1-1. Like, that was
man. You got both.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
And Variety ulted and didn't get the red. Benko just took both buffs, I believe, twice, which is a ridiculous amount of farm you're taking away from Team Risk.
Still level up.
Now, ultimate could have came through, did not. Sap 7 has the access to it, though. With the Spirit Arrow, the ult comes down. Can you finish it? Yes, Genetics picks up that one, no problem. And that was also what I was alluding to. Lasbro pursued the weak and couldn't even land the ultimate there. Would have been massive if you can find it, but it's just tough to hit when enemies know it's coming. This Mordred, I think, was pretty solid when we first started Smite 2 competitive, but for me, if you're not getting Bluestone and playing out of the solo lane, there's a large fall off for this pick.
I am really impressed with Team Risk, because despite all those things that we've been able to say in their favor, and admittedly there's also been a lot of stuff said not in their favor, but outside of Benko, things haven't been going too well for them. For Benko, it's been going pretty well. The crunching is just so...
They're in the bones.
They are in the bones. Oh, now they're going to go for a fight. Benko, maybe things are going to go wrong for you now. Lasbro takes you up. There's the dunk for the Intoxicate. You get the Warhorn to boot, but now you got to be a little more careful. There's too many people. You kill Benko, but there's backup. Variety in a 1v2 will fall back. But Trelly, I was going to talk about 2,000 gold that Team Risk is up 6 minutes in. And a lot of that has to be in the duo lane. 2 levels for Streak versus this Anubis.
A lot of stacking going on as well. Like, you can tell everyone is sort of looking towards late game here. Benko once again starting that Dev Gauntlet. Transcendence out of Johnny in the jungle, which I think is a very smart call. Variety just wants a buff to his name. Will the ultimate find one? It'll find both! Beautiful pull back in from Theeks. Can you pick up Johnny here is the question. He seems to be just fine for the time now. He's got the juke shoes. We need more damage onto the Loki, and it's not coming.
Yeah, need a stun as well. You found something for some lockdown, but it seems like they've been rotating the targets a little too much. Benko, Johnny, Benko, Johnny, Benko, silenced. Everyone going everywhere, and instead, Genetics falls down because of maybe lack of focus there from Team Risk. Now you come in, up into the sky goes the Cool Khan, and down into the ground goes the Cool Khan. So they pick up 1 kill for 1. Mid traded out for Genetics, so still going to feel pretty worthwhile, but it did feel like it could have been a lot more for Team Risk.
Still might be. With a little bit of damage here, World Weaver should connect, and no one's going to block it. Lazra picks up that kill. Johnny gets punished for, I was going to say lazy backing, but honestly just going for farm is what the real price comes through for there. So much damage coming out of this Mordred now. 3, 1, and 2. Lazra has been a part of a whole heck of a lot. Even with the rotation from Benko, is going to be trouble. Lazra's got decent healing, uses the Aegis, but a stun. The Riptide isn't enough to keep him alive. No way.
Wow, and then a little bit of healing from the... Oh my god, and the reach just off the mark, too. I admire Silence. That's not a play a lot of people would have it in their head to try and make. And while it still goes wide and doesn't work, I admire the dash reach toss, just in case. Because otherwise, Genetics is just too insane, and that shouldn't be allowed.
Cannot believe he lived there. Beautifully timed Aegis just to get the
to the Riptide, really. HP. Yeah.
Yeah, but then immediately into the Riptide, into the heal, into the auto attack for the regen. And then he gets out like it was always planned. Speed buff invade comes through. Unfortunately, Lazra, you live your life, but you do not get your buff. Now Lazra is trying to just run down Silence here. Has some good damage, but Johnny's on the way. You might be getting collapsed on if you are Lazra. Pull back. It's the ultimate out of Sap 7, but the chase begins. I think they've got enough time here. Is there anyone who's got the option? It's Genetics, but can you find a stun? Yes, you can.
As the lockdown might not have been the target they wanted initially, but honestly might be a better target. Silence, yeah, who cares about killing the support? Killing the mid laner again. Yeah, that feels pretty solid. And they take him down. Johnny now kind of forced to just, well, yeah, bunny hop around. Not much he can do in this scenario. Maybe they can collapse on Genetics, but you've also got Theek stepping up. You've got Lazra and Variety all here. You're tier 1 in mid. Oh, it's going to get collapsed on. They'll knock that down. Wouldn't be surprised, and maybe we'll still be waiting a little bit because that's what happened in game 1, but Gold Fury definitely feels like it is on the table for Team Risk. They are already 4,000 gold up without one. They haven't taken a tower yet, so again, it's in kills, 5 kills over, so some of the kills that are just a little worth more, but really, Jelly, it's all this farm. And it's enabled ridiculous plays like this. Luckily for Sap, Streak misses pretty much everything. And because of that, you're much more in this fight. In fact, you might be able to even kill this Neat because of all of those missteps and misfires. Has a little bit of healing, uses the root. Gold Fury comes in, helps out. Now you've got a rotation from Benko. This might be a Gold Fury going to Smoke Break. Started up, and no one's nearby. Hecate's coming in. Can you burn it fast enough? You just use Sap's ult. But it does not matter. You have what you
can.
That's big! In the here, he grabs 3. Oh, man, and they're waiting. Pulled right back in. You need a little more damage. Where are the kills? They're flowing in. Johnny is 1 tick from death. You just need someone to chase him down. Someone to
Streak
get
in 3
there.
seconds. He's got ult.
Genetics is doing it. You got to get some vision, though. If Streak can find him, keeping his eyes. But I think just a little too late. If I'm Lazra, maybe a little upset with how little we got off of that, but maybe not as much anymore. I see the Riptide is up, or the River's Rebuke, I should say, and that collapses to help get 1 kill. It might not be a Johnny, but it is staggered out. It's something.
Variety gonna dive this. Sap 7 underneath the tower, very weak. Doesn't seem like a kill. It's gonna come through. Beautifully timed wrap from Sap. It's gonna delay the life, but the ultimate from Athena might just be enough. Can you find the kill? Lazra has to ult out of here. He's going back in. He hit the tank. That's not who you want. But the Aegis should give him enough time to survive.
He wanted Sap so bad.
He really did. Doesn't have the damage to find to the tier 1 tower is what they are after. And man, Team Risk is on the wrong side of the map. They are all over and right. Unfortunately, didn't recognize that Smoke Break. Still had some fight left in him. And a good rotation from Benko into a good Gold Fury pull helps at least alleviate some of that gold deficit.
Somehow it went up to 5,000, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know. They lost the Gold Fury and ended up with more gold.
Yeah,
I
mean,
don't
they
know
got
what
their
happened.
kills. They got tier 1, and they were still pushing up the waves. Oh, they got 2 tier 1s, actually. So, yeah, that'll pretty much
That'll
negate
do it,
all
yeah.
that. But, hey, at the very least, Smoke Break has shown they're not just going to roll over.
Which, again, I actually really admire. That was a really good shot call from him as well. If you don't get 3-man grabbed by Lasbra, you probably get out pretty well, or pretty well off there in general. It also is unfortunate because the way that all starts with Streak, they were getting aggressive against Sap 7 in duo. And I'm going to call him out for it again just because it happened. There's no other way to word it. He missed everything on what should have been a kill, and that kind of turned things around. Now, up, down.
Terrible time to up down.
Pretty bad time to up
There's
down.
2 in the jungle right next to you. You know, Benko's like, finally I get to solo this chump. And right, he's like, I was baiting you, bro. There is so much help on the
There
board.
was never a solo.
Yeah. It was never a 1v1. It was always a 3v1. At the very least, Smoke Break, you get to pick up the Queen Naga. Use that ultimate just to confirm it. And Theeks has to watch as a small but important objective gets taken right before his eyes. Dash taunt coming soon. Theeks, are you ready for it? And Aegis is not going to be enough to get you away from the wrap. And here it comes. You got to ult immediately, but the CC chain is ridiculous. You pull 2 away, but your life is gone. That's a shutdown kill in favor of Johnny. Which is not a bad call to go for. Again, you don't have beads and you're not with anyone, so probably don't want to be that far up in lane if you're Theeks.
Gotta give credit where credit's due for Smoke Break specifically. They've been grouping better. I mean, like the numbers game in terms of these fights and like where we're seeing them actually like taking initiation, that's just been a little stronger. Despite the fact that it's 11-5, the last few fights have been more in their favor. Kind of like this. I mean, you technically have a little bit of backup with genetics. You're more or less in a 4v1. Now you've got more help. Lasbra, Streak are coming by. Variety's kind of in no man's land, so it's going to be just these 3 and the 3v5 that is starting up. You need a little more damage, and you've got a lot coming out, but you need a little more help. Lasbra gets taken down. The numbers game, again, just playing too hard and too heavy on one side. Variety here could stop backs, could maybe re-engage if the team wants that. World Weaver comes out, and they're looking for something. You got to walk somewhere here between a rock and a hard place. Streak up just a little shy, but it doesn't matter because Variety's there to get the job done. Intoxicate used ult from Bologna over the wall, onto the tier 2, and into safety. Means you trade Lasbra, your jungle, so far for the support. He thought they were done, and I was incorrect. I should never have doubted Team Risk's abilities or want to dive under a tier 2. Now it was Lasbra for the duo lane, which makes you a little more happy with your trade overall.
Tier 2 tower, a lot of gold. He'll grab this early on. Team Risk will grab that, no problem. Theeks with that ult over the wall, try to find something, but Johnny just uses that ultimate to close gap and get away. No one ends up being caught out by it, but hey, yeah, I think you'll take the tier 2 tower if you're Team Risk after an engagement like that. And a sloppy one. Again, Variety actually teleported to the left side of the map. There was no one on that side of the map, so I had to walk all the way back to try and join that fight in the fire pit before Fire Giant even spawned in at that point. So just a little all over the place here. But Gold Fury's back. Smoke Break were the ones that got the last one, and they are already grouped for it. Remember, Benko is here. The Bologna is not over in solo lane farming. Looks like Gold Fury may be attempted pretty soon here. But Lasbra wants a 1v1. Should be interesting, especially with the World Weaver. Could certainly help out. Variety is just bullying. And of course, the tanks are also just fighting in mid. This is such a split engagement.
Everything everywhere happening all at once. It's going to be Lasbra up to the sky with Johnny chasing him down. Anubis uses his ult, burns on Streak. Lasbra's ignoring him, going for Johnny immediately. Now Streak in a little bit of trouble. Will go down to the burn from the Anubis. Now you need maybe some backup. No one's there. Lasbra's in the 1v2, just falls back. But Trelly, like you said, there were fights happening everywhere. And so despite the fact that that goes 1 for 1, you lose 2 others if you're Smoke Break. And it doesn't feel anywhere near as good when the last 2 standing were the ones who were able to kind of thwart and push back Lasbra by himself.
Why is Genetics a level above his ADC, man? Why is Genetics 6-2 when Streak is 0-2? Why is Genetics invading red and blue while the rest of the team is just playing the old grass patch? All questions, no answers. Who's going to be the poor soul that walks up to the... What? Right as Benko walks up, you guys walk out? I mean, you sat there for so long.
Yeah, but speed buff, Charlie, come on. What's worth more, Benko or speed? Speed, apparently, for Lasbra. Benko, actually. But for them, they wanted something different.
Silence had to ult out, and it didn't come through. So you're just dead at this point.
That one feels like a very typical collapse. Poor Streak, man, has been given the short end of the stick.
Imagine being level 14 right now and on Team Risk. Lame.
Yeah. Kind of lame, actually. Pyro started on one side. Smokebreaker going to go for it, but Lasbra coming through a little too late, but he still takes one up into the sky. Gold Fury, meanwhile, being done, is the main target for a couple members of the team. The Lasbra chasing forward. Genetics and Streak get the Gold Fury. So you've lost the Pyro, you got a kill. If I'm looking correctly, prevented the Runic Bomb from being picked up. Unless Johnny loops around and it's still there. And in a good position to maybe punish Benko here. You've got Silence coming back in. Things is getting low though, and this is not a good spot. Loki's right around the corner, doesn't even need him. So you get the kill there. Lasbra, now you're the one who's in trouble. Nowhere to really go, no help in sight, no end in sight for you. And just sent to the grayscale. Genetics and Streak continue to split push over on left, but it's action everywhere for these two teams. This one going a little in favor of Smokebreak.
Variety trying to find a solo kill. Actually does have a decent shot at doing some damage here, but the rest of the squad not on the way. If anything, it's Johnny who's stepping forward here. Variety, are you afraid of the 1v3? Seems like the answer is yes, but slightly. Not of dying, but just of taking that actual fight. So ends up backing up anyways. This has been Team Risk just kind of goofing off, right? They're not grouped up. I don't think any of these deaths happen if they're a true 5v5, but Genetics is off searching for farm. He went Totem of Death, which tells me he's probably going Soul Reaver next item. So he really went Beads, Glad Shield, and then said, I'm going full damage, and I don't care what anyone says. So, Gore, don't be surprised if you see Genetics walk up, pop an ult here, and just one-shot DJ Dink, because it could certainly happen.
Bubble Mouse is doing a lot more. Goes for a steal. Was he successful? Doesn't seem like it. Doesn't mean that Genetics is done, though. Is still playing aggressive. Is still walking around. Goes up. River's Rebuke. Walls collapse in. And I believe Theeks was looking for a pull as well. Didn't quite find who he was fishing for. Benko forced to ult away. And it's the Tier 2 tower is the primary target for Team Risk.
Tier 2 tower is the target. Variety taking some damage versus Johnny in the jungle. I feel like Variety could win this if he has the cooldown to back it up. But he didn't know that the Assassinate was coming in. And now Johnny on the run. No one has the vision on him, so he should be able to make it out just fine, assuming no one stops his back, which they won't do. Is Fire Giant the play call, or is Team Risk just backing up? Again, just for being not grouped. I mean, I don't blame Variety for going in for that 1v1. If you knew Assassinate was up, then I do blame him, but maybe he thought it was down or was already used. In this case, though, Smokebreak kind of dancing the line between letting that gold lead shrink and grow. Still, they've shown that they can fight back if given the opportunity. 18-10, 5,000 gold, give or take. Not the worst position in the world to be in, especially because Johnny is 5-2. This Loki has been able to find farm pretty consistently, even while Team Risk is just playing the map so well.
You just need to find, I mean, you need that little push, that extra little kick, something. I think for Smokebreak, because the fights, and you know, you can look at it one way. You could say maybe Team Risk has been playing a little sloppier compared to last game. I think Smokebreak personally have been playing cleaner and able to close it. The fact that it's, you know, floating between 5,000, 6,000 gold is actually pretty solid, right? Last game we're looking at 10,000 right here, and it's just like, okay, countdown timer to the end of the game.
Johnny's getting collapsed on, or he was, I guess. Holds it out, but sure they can just chase him down here. Yeah, he's got to be falling down after the assassinate. Do you have any chase potential? No. No one's covering the option. No one has ward coverage, so the ult from Streak Up gets wasted, unfortunately.
Well, Shelly, I feel like, and maybe it's just a grand scheme, kind of find ourselves back in the exact same spot we were before all that happened. Nothing too crazy happens. Maybe waiting for some ultimates to come back. Maybe, you know, it's a brief pause while Loki recoups. Pyromancer started up by Team Risk. This is what I've kind of been wanting to see more of, and I feel like we've been missing. It's like Team Risk has been playing well and farming well. Just control the neutral objectives. Like, if you want to repeat game 1, you know, these fights maybe aren't as necessary. Yeah, just find these kills. Also, I think me and you were talking about it last week. The sound is just so much better.
Fantastic. I love it a lot. Fire Giant started up, Pyromancer down, but Johnny is already here trying to get to the back line. The rest of Team Smoke Break is not here. It's going to be a 5 versus 3, but SAP7 finally teleported over.
We've got the numbers now even. A little wide there, and then into the back. Lasbra up into the sky, comes down. DJ Dink into the ground. And exactly what you need to continue this chase. You just need to collapse. Johnny seems to be a primary target for a few, but he's got a lot of distance. Meanwhile, Benko V3 struggling on his own. Genetics, Streak Up, all locking together. There's going to be the World Weaver into the Hecate, into everything you need in terms of damage. That's 2 gone. Johnny did manage to give him the slip. But in the grand scheme, is it worthwhile? Fire Giant was the target for Team Risk all along. The kills were just icing on the cake. Now it looks like they're going to get the Fire Giant and maybe a little bit more. Double CC. Anubis uses the ult. Actually finds the damage. I didn't think he was going to get them here, but now has a lot of control. Lasbra, with that taunt, might be in more trouble than he's actually able to get.
They're such trolls, man.
So you get the Fire Giant. You haven't even got the Fire Giant yet. Finally, you get the Fire Giant, but you lose a few to gain a couple.
Again, Gore, I think Team Risk death count would probably be 0 if they just 5v5'd, but they consistently just go off and do their own thing. Look at Lasbra's build and tell me where he thought he was killing. Bro went Dev Gauntlets into Pharaoh's Curse beads on. Like, he's just a tank. He doesn't do damage. SAP7 on his worst day could 1v1 him twice, and now Gold Fury goes the way of Smoke Break. I mean, there's still a goal deficit, but it's not massive. It's slowly but surely shrinking off of just terrible calls from Team Risk.
And what's interesting is it's always like it's terrible calls alongside like the right call. Like if everyone's just at Fire Giant.
Oh yeah, there's usually 2 people doing the right play, and then 3. This time it was 3v2, but still,
yeah.
It's like
2 to 3 are doing the right thing. 2 to 3 people are doing the wrong thing. It just swaps.
And hey, Smoke Break is not a team that is going to let that slide. They will be able to capitalize if they keep giving these opportunities.
Where are the opportunities going to arise? You've only got 3 with Fire Giant right now because Lazar and Variety don't. And so you got to step up, find it where it's due. Street. Still 0-2, by the way. Unable to find a kill. And ever threatening on this ultimate. I was going to say, who do you grab with it? He throws it out there, and Lasper died.
He had beads, if you were wondering.
Yeah.
He had them.
He had them. Also, so did Genetics. Oh, no, sorry. Genetics
just came back up.
You're right.
It's just...
It was almost full.
Again, it's fine. Like, if you want to goof off, you can goof off. But none of these plays have to happen, man. You have a Runic Bomb. You can play it slow. You wait for Genetics to find a stun. Wait for Variety to find a flop. But instead, we have Mordred Frontline, who... I'm going to let you in on a secret. His poke is useless. Like, the build that Lasmer has gone means that his 1-3 combo does 0 damage to anyone. It's really just CC. He ults, and then Theeks has been able to follow up with it. So if you're not leading with Open the Gates, or sorry, Pursue the Weak into Open the Gates, it's just questionable why you'd even fight. Should be able to force out Assassinate here for sure, because the World Weaver is almost certainly on the way. But do you have the vision? Do you have the damage to even find it? Shriek's not charging it, though, so clearly that's not happening. Maybe Variety gets collapsed on.
Belly flopped forward, which left them that ever-present possibility. But Variety stopped walking forward, so nobody collapses. At least as of yet, you still have quite a few people over in solo, maybe to combat some of the lanes being pushed or waves being pushed, but Jelly to reset. Honestly, with the pace of the game, might be a reset till Fire Giant comes back. I mean, I don't know how much I trust this team going into a Phoenix right now. Which is to say, I trust them when they had their 8,000, 9,000 gold lead. Now they're back to 3,000 gold lead because of some goofers and some oopsies. And so the question is, where are we going to go? Can you dive this and feel confident when all 5 of you do not have Fire Giant? And I guess the answer is no. Ancient Fury will spawn in soon. You'll have a Pyromancer. Like, there's going to be other options available. Just a bizarre series of choices coming on down the line for Team Risk as a whole.
I guess you could say they were going for some risks. Let's see, can Lasber find the ult in the invis? The answer is no. So now the chase for the great Johnny chase begins. 3 ultimates have been used. Johnny's been hit by 1 of them. And I would guess this stealth is enough to get him out unless Variety has some way to catch him. So far he does. The CC is good, but here comes the shell, and here comes Ice Silence. Can Smoke Break try and turn this?
River's Rebuke up, lock down the Bologna. You have some damage. Now, this is a full-on fight. This isn't just chasing the Loki anymore. Good knock up. Find some damage, but a great ult in retaliation comes out from DJ Dink. At least a little bit of damage. But again, not enough to maybe make the big splash. Nobody dies there, despite a massive clash and really, really heavy investment from both sides. And Shelly, wash your hands, reset, resync. We're 28.5 into this game. 4,000-ish gold separating them. Team Risk still in the lead, but pretty much everything that was true when they were retreating from that left Phoenix has remained true, except Pyromancer, Ancient Fury, both of those available and up for the taking.
That's the call for now. Grouping in middle lane. It's really both of these teams. Benko, only one who's kind of lost in the sauce over on right lane for the time being. But this is just going to be a slow burn because you don't really have that much shred towards the objective anymore. The way that Shriek has chose to build, which is still just, you know, traditional Neath build. Team Risk can't hope to pull Fire Giant quickly. They need to bait in for a fight. They still have plenty of a lead, DPS-wise, itemization-wise, but they don't have like a true shred mage like an Anubis or like a Cuckoo who's got like a ton of consistent damage for an objective, and they definitely don't have a consistent auto attacker. So it's got to be baits. That needs to be the play call here. A lot of vision in favor of Smoke Break around the objective. But regardless, they've got 2 runic bombs. So if it does come down to it and it's a toss-up, I do weight the coin very heavily in Team Risk's favor. Can you find the go button? Here comes Lasber ulting in just to try and find, once again, Johnny. He ults out, and that's that. Trade ult for ult. At least it was only 1 this time, because last time it was 3.
And they still didn't get him, by the way.
Yeah.
That's it was a heavy investment to not find anything. But I do think chasing down Johnny, I mean, that's been the right call. 6-2-4. You know, the Anubis is 5-4-3. I will attribute some of those calls to the Anubis, or some of those kills to the Anubis, some of those kills to maybe to Variety and Lasber. I think maybe they played themselves to allow some of those kills to happen. But Johnny has been picking them up the old-fashioned way. Johnny's someone you have to worry about, especially in these sort of instances. Fire Giant's going to be the main call, but like you said, Risk can't really risk pulling it fast. They are going to be a slower burn. They don't really have the same objective secure, if you want to call it that. I mean, the lack specifically of Sunders means that I would look at Kukul Khan as probably the guy right now. And it's just the question of who's going to feel confident to step up to it first. And if anyone takes the bait and maybe mistake of trying to go for like the Ancient Fury on the left side of the map instead of going for this fire giant, but I don't think anybody's going to. Now Lasber's going to be looking to pull someone into the...
You got him!
Finally finds him. What a roundabout way to get there. Oh, a wild and crazy turn, but he still gets the kill. And now you've got the numbers advantage. Can get aggressive if you so please. And Genetics does so please. The lockdown isn't quite where you need it. The walls from the River's Rebuke still allowing a small path out, but that small path funnels you into the rest of the team. And now you can dash forward. They're using the teleport. Might even be able to find Johnny on his own, but it doesn't seem like you can catch the Loki. We've tested that theory several times. Still, 2 kills, Fire Giant available. This could be a massive opening for Team Risk.
Again, 2 runic bombs. There should be very little chance for a steal here if you are Smoke Break. We are talking about 32 minutes into the game, plenty of DPS, plenty of burst, and plenty of confirmation. Fire Giant finally goes down to all 5 on Team Risk. I want them to just run it down. I mean, they will have at least 20 seconds without silence, but it looks like the Ancient Fury is the smarter call. And you know what? I immediately second-guessed myself because the respawn timers are not so massive that they can pull this off without going in for an Ancient Fury. So yeah, let's head back to base, finish up the last of those big power spikes, and then look to finally break the base of Smoke Break. With the lead that Team Risk have been built up, the fact that they made it this long without dropping a Phoenix just shows, number one, how well they've been playing to capitalize and punish Team Risk's mistakes, but also just how bad the siege was from Team Risk. They were really overstepping at times, but siege forward is the call. I want to see a full-on grouping, maybe like a 3-2. We don't see too much of the 3-2 splits anymore. It's usually just 5 in mid, and then someone sort of hunting Johnny and trying to find this Loki before he can step forward. But regardless, plenty of damage coming out of Team Risk. As long as they are grouped up together as 5, and no one, you know, gets picked for no reason, should be a very clean siege, at least for one of these Phoenixes.
They just have to figure out which one to go for. Normally we've seen teams in positions like this, they'll go for left, right? Just most valuable. I feel like lately we've seen a lot of teams grab the right side Phoenixes, despite the fact that that's maybe easier to defend around a Fire Giant, things like that. Team Risk will be heading left. You got Variety running down mid, so you're going to have a little flank capability and split push capability. Just need to put that pressure on. Variety's alone, but I don't think Variety's in danger.
You got him!
And then up into the sky. Oh my god, you're right. Lasberg goes for the pickup, finds it, forces the ult out of Johnny for the retreat. And that's going to open up this Phoenix a lot more than it should. And a great River's Rebuke. It leaves the Phoenix exposed. You can find your shots, and you block off the rest for their defense. Plus, it's weakened from the Ancient Fury. You get that. You're looking like you might get a kill on Benko as well. Left side Phoenix, solo lane as well, all gone. And now you move to mid. Phoenix, still the primary target. You got a minion wave, thanks to Variety. And you're in a 4v5. You're trying to find the little bit of damage that you need. Variety jumps into the back, looks for a stun, and it's just trying to cause chaos for them. But they take the Phoenix in mid. They took the left side Phoenix. Now, the right side Phoenix seems to be their goal. 30 seconds still without Benko. Jump to the back, looking for a fight. Kukulkan comes ripping through, but it just does not have the damage. Sap taken down, and it is a checklist. Silence, next one up. And who cares about the Phoenix? The Titan is the target. You've got Johnny and DJ Dink. No ult for the Kukulkan. And Johnny, what can he do when you dive and assassinate into 5? The answer seems to be nothing right now. He goes in for some damage, but there's just nothing to stop this. Team Risk with a big win, go up 2-0, and they qualify for playoffs.
I mean, a well-played finish there by Team Risk, but quite a shaky get, right? To get to that point of the game where they were over going for solo kills in right lane, going for solo kills over in left lane, dropping their siege. But hey, as long as you are in control of the end game, we can overlook all of that and just look at the massive lead that they were able to obtain in both games. And of course, the clinical dissection of how to just break apart the base until one mistake was made. Benko kind of overstays his welcome. They get that pick, and that turns into the eventual Titan drop there from Team Risk, proving, of course, why they are considered the #1 seed here in EMEA. And as Gore said, stamps their ticket to playoffs, and they can just sit back now. They can sit back, just watch the rest of the Founders Series unfold for about a month, I believe.
Yeah, 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, about a month. They can, again, there's going to be new characters added in the meantime. They're going to, I'm sure they're going to be scrimming, practicing things like that. But you've sort of lifted that weight from your shoulders where you're like, okay, now we can just focus on improving our team play, figuring out what kind of meta we want to form. And that's a big win for them.
A massive step closer to Vegas as well.
Yep.
And when you're looking at them as a team and also just the way that they played, first off, also prove that Trilly is, in fact, that guy.
That's true.
As we learned, you should watch Smite Too Long. Didn't watch to figure out what we're talking about. That's a good way to give you
that is nice.
Probably.
Well done, well done.
And, of course, they are just, Team Risk, as you had mentioned. I'm not going to call them unstoppable, but I'm going to say they're really, really good at playing Smite, and it seems like that farm game, again, while it suffered this time around, Theeks didn't break the 600 mark like he did last game. The damage is still there. The fight was still there, and you had kind of mentioned it, and I'll say it again. Outside of like some questionable decisions from Team Risk, there wasn't really a point where it felt like they weren't in control that game.
Johnny did 20,000 on the nose, which is kind of cool.
That is really cool.
I like seeing clean numbers. Did you see last week when the gold was exactly tied?
We were casting together.
Yeah, that was
a good moment.
Sweet. Those are the kind of things that get me hyped.
Charlie goes, Team Risk, they made it to playoffs. Who cares about that? I was right about it. Who cares about that? Did you see that 20,000 though?
I'm just when you talk about Smite as much as I do, it's the little things.
It's the little things
that gets you hyped. And in this case, doing 20,000 damage flat is also
on the nose.
One of those things. Unfortunately, 20,000 damage was not enough to get the dub there in game number 2. But I think that Smokebreak is a squad that we can definitely expect to qualify.
For sure.
Eventually. It's not going to happen this week, obviously. We just saw them go down. But they played very well despite the differences there in gold and things like that. So I've got no reason to believe that they won't be able to qualify in the later stages.
You need to be top 8. Right now, we just qualified 2. So now there's 6 spots left. Smokebreak have kind of shown that they're in the top 4 conversation by getting here. And you can see them sitting up at the top. 2-0 there. Right now, Tithonic Titans Reload. Actually, we're really luckier. I think I'm lucky enough to be able to peek back and say that I think the game was going on. We had a vision for a little bit on what was going on in there. But Tithonic up 1-0, and they're the last match that's going on right now. Those top teams, Team Risk and Giovanni Giorgio, they are in playoffs. They don't have to play in Swiss. They don't have to play in Stage 3. They get the pass. Smokebreak, Mockingbird, we will see again next week in that 2-1 area. Down at the bottom, let's go Asgard again and MMB. They will be waiting in Stage 3, those last chance qualifiers, to see where things are going to go. But Trelly,
yes.
While that was EMEA, that was not everything that we have to offer today or this weekend. There's still more.
This day's only halfway over.
And it's only halfway there. Starting in about, let me do some math, 22 minutes. Employment LARPers, Theater Thugs. One of them stays alive in Swiss. One of them goes to the Stage 3 last chance qualifiers in NA, which again is going to have open bracket teams and a lot more from Swiss eventually joining. And potentially Theater Thugs as well, maybe featured on an episode of Drake and Josh. Don't know yet. Might have to figure it out. And then, of course, at 5 o'clock, Cowabunga versus Name in Progress. That's one I am personally really excited to watch just because Cowabunga is always a treat to see. And I'm curious to see what Name in Progress have to offer. And even the off-air ones, the Garf's Goblins, Alec Hate Club, and Scrumptious and Borscht, like those are good matchups. North America is not here to disappoint today.
Yep, there is going to be banger matchups happening. And remember, just because a team did make it this week means that you'll be able to see them next week, and the matchups are going to be even better because 2 teams that were very close to qualifying this week, that just means they might be going up against each other next week, which is even more exciting if you don't think about it that hard. So should be some exciting stuff to continue. But again, as we already said, the day is either halfway done or it's just halfway getting started, whichever way you like to think about it.
Is like a glass half full, glass half empty thing?
Yeah.
Which one's the half full? Like I guess it's just like halfway getting started. Is that?
Yeah, it's like it's halfway empty, man. That stinks. But like it's half full. You got so much left.
You're doing, and you know what? There is so much left that is going to be coming in the future. And North America has been a treat because of the different pace of game.
Right.
I'm expecting some bloodbaths. Whether that translates to gold leads or not is entirely up in the air. It is sometimes fighting for the sake of fighting, which is kind of the opposite of what actually, last game, maybe it is what we saw Team Risk doing. But first game, They were just farming.
That game number 2, I think, was just overwhelming confidence from Team Risk to the point of like arrogance at some points, right? Where you're just like, we can step up here 1v3, and it's like, can you though? Like, you have a lead, but it's not that massive. Regardless, I think that game, of course, was in Team Risk's hands for, they probably could have made one more drop before it got a little bit sketchy. So nothing to really worry about. But to your point, I think NA has a lot of back and forth engagements like that, and what we've learned is besides Cowabunga, every other team has been shown to be able to bleed, which is more exciting, right?
Well, the interesting thing about that, because I think you said something similar about Team Risk, which means maybe we'll see a similar performance from Cowabunga. I don't know. They play later today. You're going to want to make sure you stay tuned. North America, it's all coming up real soon, but we'll be right back.